Every website visitor is an opportunity. And it may sound a little extreme, however, the truth is, if somebody comes to your website and doesn't convert, then that's a lost opportunity. And the entrepreneurs and business owners who develop the mindset that every visit is an opportunity are the difference between a mediocre business and one that's crushing it. Here's the reality. Most service-based businesses, dentists, lawyers, electricians, plumbers, they're too busy to really pay attention to their marketing and advertising. So I want to give you all the information quickly and directly so that you can do what you want with it. If you need some help, drop a comment below and I'll see if I can point you in the right direction. Like many of you, I had no idea what I was doing when I started my first business, a honey company, with my best friend who's a beekeeper. And when I realized that, I went out and got a job at an Inc. 500 advertising agency to learn all the skills necessary to get traffic and can convert visitors. And eventually I started my own advertising agency, which quickly became profitable, which I sold for an undisclosed amount. In my career, I've worked with thousands of service-based businesses, local-based businesses, gyms, technicians, repair service, plumbers, electrician, you name it, I've done it. And the one thing they usually get wrong, whether they have a large budget or a small budget, is how they manage their conversion funnel. Meaning taking a cold visitor who doesn't know who you are and turning them into a customer. Here's how I see most service-based businesses currently getting business. A little bit of search, a little bit of door-to-door, a little bit of word of mouth. The problem is that two of these don't actually scale that well. And as we'll see here shortly, they're not as efficient. Now, going back to scale, search can scale, but door-to-door and word of mouth, you're going to be hard-pressed to get those to scale efficiently because it's going to be a math problem based on the number of hours it takes to walk, variables like, is that person home? Is that person going to give their friend a referral, etc.? It could be bad weather. It could be a lot of things. With digital, none of that is a problem. Search demand doesn't really change year to year, though seasonality does. Let's compare door-to-door to digital marketing. I want to ignore word of mouth because that is the most fickle form of hoping for business that you could possibly hope for. And let's set some assumptions for each. So door-to-door, average roof sale, $15,000. Commission rate, 10%. Average customers close per day, 1. Sales rep daily earnings then is $1,500. Average door-to-door knock rate is like 1 hour and 40 minutes per door. And let's assume labor costs are 100% commissions. And there are no marketing costs. So here's what that looks like. 40 knocks a day, 1 customer, $15,000 in revenue for a $1,500 cost per customer, essentially. Gross profit, you're at $13,500. Let's switch over to digital marketing, more specifically focusing on paid, whether it's paid social or paid search. Average roof sale, the same, 15 grand. Average searches per day, $1,000. It's going to be more for bigger cities, less for smaller cities. Click-through rate, 10%. Average CPC, $3. Lead conversion rate, 2%. Lead to customer rate, 30%. Labor costs, 0, unless you're paying an agency. Marketing costs, $300. So here's what that looks like. 2 leads a day, 0.6 customers a day, $9,000 in revenue, 0.6 times 15,000 at $300 cost per customer. And the gross profit is $9,000. So you may be saying, okay, my gross profit was more at $13,500 in the other one, and now we're at $9,000. Well, that's a fair point. However, if you can improve any of those metrics, whether it's your CPC, whether it's your conversion rate, whether it's your click-through rate, or whether it's your lead to close rate, then we can get more efficient and get a higher volume, right? We may go up from 10% to 12.5% click-through rate. Well, that's going to lead you to more volume, granted all else remains equal. Or you can increase your lead to close rate from 30% to 50%. Or you can increase your conversion rate from 2% to 4%. All of these are going to lead to greater volume. So we've addressed volume. Now, obviously, the cost per acquisition is much cheaper from $1,500 to $300. So search is more efficient. That's not what we're here to discuss. I'm only walking you through the math. It justifies why making optimizations to your conversion funnel is so important. Moreover, going back to door, sometimes the weather is bad. Like I mentioned, there's going to be other variables. I don't want to repeat them, but let's move on. Okay, now let's talk about the conversion funnel. The basic conversion funnel has 5 core stages. Awareness, interest, consideration, action, and loyalty. You've probably seen this somewhere, maybe business school, maybe one of your marketing courses, maybe you did your own research. So it sounds kind of maybe hoity-toity marketing for big brands and, expert marketers. And that's not really true. We're going to break this down to make it very simple so that you can use it as a tool to optimize your business and understand how you're going to get a cold audience, a new customer who's never heard of you before, to becoming your customer. I want to start outside of the funnel. We have total addressable market. This means all the people looking for services that you offer. Now, we need to find the ones that are ready. We need to find the ones that need you. We want to get them into this awareness stage. So total addressable market for a roofer might be anybody with a roof. Total addressable market for anybody who needs a dentist is anybody with teeth. So that is going to be what lies at the bottom or the top of the funnel, depending on how you draw it. I usually draw mine upside down because people don't fall into the funnel, they actually fall out. But I don't want to argue over semantics. So of that total addressable market, let's go back and continue with this roofing example. So let's think about, we have everybody with a home, and now we need to make the people that need your service now or very soon aware of who you are. So we need to go out and find those people in your total addressable market and bring them into our awareness stage. Now, with awareness, it's fairly simple. A lot of people might describe it in different ways that I want to describe it. It might be more like, they might use lofty terms like brand. We're not going to talk about that here because look, there are some repair services that have really strong brands, but probably not everybody, and very few in fact. In order to find the people that need your service in the total addressable market, we're going to go out to Google, Meta, TikTok, YouTube, etc. And we're going to use a metric called click-through rate, basically to measure the amount of people in the total addressable market that have intent and need your product or service, right? When we say click-through rate, it's a measurement of the quality of your targeting. So anyway, going forward, the next step is interest. A click is an expression of interest. So once we've got them in to interested, now we're going to get them to the next stage, which is consideration. Now, they're on your website, they have intent. Now we want to get them into considering us, not considering the product or service in general. That's a very important point because a lot of times people are going back to this first step, drumming up awareness for this big idea, category awareness. Like let's say you have a new type of didgeridoo or something like that. We're not trying to do that. People need a roofing company. People need a dentist, etc. So this is simply conversion rate. How many visitors become leads? Conversion rate is an expression of interest in you. So they can express this in a few different ways. They can express this by calling you. They can express this by filling out a form, and they can express this by engaging in a light chat. So here's where we want to optimize for conversion. The next section, we're going to focus on the KPIs and how to optimize those KPIs. But I wanted to lay out this funnel in relationship to those KPIs. Many people don't do this. The next step, the fourth step is taking action. Now, I know we have them take action with a lead form, but that's not the action we actually want them to take. So when I say take action, I mean, you want them to make a transaction with you. So what we have here is a lead to close rate, lead to customer rate. So in this stage, we want to be thinking, how can we stay top of mind? Call, text, email, etc. We don't need to advertise them to them. We just need to make sure they stay with us throughout the lead process. And the final step, which most businesses don't even touch, it's this stage that people hope happens. But there are actually things you can do when to control the loyalty stage. So this is the loyalty stage that we're talking about. With loyalty, basically your goal here is to get them to buy again. Maybe you can do a cross-sell. If you're a roofer, you partner with a gutter company, or you partner with a solar company and you take commission on that. The other two things is we want them to leave a review and we want them to tell their friends. This is where you could have some sort of loyalty program for every, person they refer. You give them back some X amount of dollars, etc. Or you get 10% off your next purchase, something like that. If you're going to do the cross sell, maybe they get 10%. You actually waive the entire commission from your partner. There's a lot of interesting things you can do here. In any case, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this one, and we won't today, but I do want to mention it because most people don't touch it. Okay, so let's talk about the metrics, the KPIs. So we have click-through rate, conversion rate, and lead to close rate that we can really control and optimize. So let's start with click-through rate. Like I said, click-through rate is a measurement of the quality of targeting that you're doing, as well as some ads. You can optimize click-through rate by improving the targeting. Maybe on Google, you're going after the wrong search queries, or you have the wrong campaign type. Maybe on Meta, you're targeting the wrong audience, or you have the wrong campaign type. Or maybe on TikTok, YouTube, it's the same. Now, then we talk about the ads. So if we want to get a higher click-through rate, we could improve the quality of the ads. And that might be improving the messaging with clear offers and visual proof. Think leaky roof, get a quote today. Think discount, warranties, financing, reviews, customer testimonials, and jobs you've actually completed. Then let's go to conversion rate. At this point, they're on your website. We need to get them to fill out that form, give that phone number a call, or engage in a live chat. So here's what matters. Mobile first website design that's fast loading. 70% of traffic comes from mobile these days. And slow sites with a lack of mobile design are going to impede your ability to drive leads and ultimately customers. The next is hero image and text quality. You need to say what you do, where you do it, why they should trust you, and what is your unique value. Then let's go to trust signals, reviews, time you've been in business, insurance and license logos and badges, and photos. Post reviews of your jobs, how do they look like? And then there's call to action. This is so key. This is probably a no-brainer for most of you, to be honest with you. You probably all know you need a let's go now button. But we need to set some expectations as well, right? We don't just say, hey, let's go, right? Click here. We need to say what the visitor is going to get and how they're going to get it and when they should expect it. So the more specific we can get about why they should follow this call to action, the better. And lastly, the action you want them to take needs to be frictionless. You don't want them to have to go through 8 pages of forms or even 2 just to be able to fill out a lead form. You want them to quickly find your number. You want them to quickly find the chat. And actually, you want them to quickly find anything they actually need. And there's a whole field of conversion rate optimization, heat mapping, etc. that we can go into, but not today. That brings us to the third thing, lead to close rates. How do we optimize that? All right, so a few ideas. Speed to respond is a big thing. If a customer feels like, if you've got a slow, old website, I almost wonder if anyone is going to be on the other side of that form or that telephone. So we want to make sure they know that you're going to call them soon. So speed to response is very, 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 very important. I can't stress this enough. A lead calls, answer it right away. Get them to a salesperson. A lead fills out a form, call them right away. So that brings me to the second optimization we can do, which is call first, email second. People want to speak to real humans. I know we have AI now, but people still like humans. Crazy, right? And the third is optimizing your sales script. Now, I'm not talking about selling. I'm talking about informing your team how to better solve customer problems and how to overcome objections so that they get the service and the help they need. And the fourth and final way I'll mention in this video is follow-up systems, right? Keep calling, keep texting. You know, some people are very abusive with contact information and other people are not abusive as they should be. However, I say you got to stay hungry. So lastly, we haven't talked a lot about the loyalty stage, and I won't talk about it too much here, but it might be the most critical stage because when you've had a happy client, you need to continue to extract value from them. You've already proven your merit, so why not cross-sell them? Why not get them to leave a review? Why not to get them to tell their friends? So we really want to build this loyalty, and that means continuing the conversation. And that's all I'll say. So anyway, I kind of mentioned this. Here's the kicker. Every improvement in this process leads to compound growth, meaning every small percentage of increasing click-through rate is going to boost your overall volume and efficiency. Every small improvement to conversion rate is going to increase your volume and efficiency. Every small improvement you make to lead to customer rate is going to lead to greater volume and better efficiency. So in closing, we don't need a $10,000 funnel or some mastermind to build this thing. I built one in my garage. I built them in coffee shops. I built them wherever. And I built them before I had the skills to, just because I needed to. We just need strong audience targeting, good ad copy, good visuals, a good landing page, and a good sales rep that's going to follow up pretty quickly, right? So I hope this video helped you. I'm not a content creator by nature. I'm a doer. I don't have the flashiest cameras or coolest editing techniques, but I have the information and 10,000 hours or more and thousands of clients worth of experience that is here, and I'm here to give you the information. So anyway, this isn't a mysterious black magic bootery. This is just a tool, a very simple tool at that. And so if this has helped you, please leave a like, please drop a comment, please leave a subscribe. We're here to continue to spread the information that we've got.